We are live.
All right.
Hello. Welcome to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 407. I am Otto, and tonight I'm joined with Jared.
That's me.
Might I add, I love that Punk Rock Libertarian shirt. Yeah, looking good. I need to get another one. I haven't got. I wore mine out, and it literally turned gray from wearing it so much. So I need to get another
Holy
one.
Shit.
Yeah,
Well,
gotta do that again. But anyway,
I got a website you can go to.
I know. PRL Podcast. Use the code 10% off. Anyway, libertariancountry.com. Go there. Kyle Wagner. Hello. K-Wags.
Hey, everybody.
The minarchist himself. The man, the myth, the minarchist. And Alex Schlegel. What's up,
What's
man?
going on, everybody? Good to hang out with everybody tonight.
Dude, I feel like I've been hanging out with you every weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
It's just about every weekend.
Yeah, we
think
were
we're like-
hanging out on Jared's porch, but all night
Yeah,
waiting for him.
Jared, I was on your porch, man.
We were drinking, wait for you were out
I
there.
know.
dude.
You were being a jerk up in Lancaster or whatever.
Lancaster? Yeah.
You guys hung out on Jared's porch without Jared?
No, we were just messing with him.
Oh.
I was up at Das Beer Hall up there in Parkville or whatever. I think that's
Yeah.
Parkville. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's Das Beer Hall, and I was just pummeling crushes, and just
Get
Just
ready for your
going.
5K, right?
yeah, all right. No,
Yeah.
this was a 5K of crushes, pretty much, and I was so hammered, and I was just like, Jared. Because we apparently my wife's friend was driving. She was DD, and so she was like, "I want to take you guys where I used to live." And it was like it's right near where Jared lives. So I was like, "Let's go back to Jared's house." And I'm like, "There's his house right there." I was like, "I'm gonna go." I was like, "Jared, open your door. I'm coming over." You're like, "Dude, I'm hanging."
Yeah,
out
I
with my
would
friends."
have been down for it if I was around, but alas, I was not in the state.
What
Right.
day was that? Was that Saturday?
Saturday night.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was freaking hot this weekend.
Dude, it's
You
climate
It was
change.
so hot.
It was
And it was
so hot.
awesome because we went to this place called Das Beer Hall has the basement. We had the Mises Caucus Oktoberfest there last year, and we were in the basement, and it was really cool. Like you could rent out, and when we got there, the parking lot was packed. And I dropped everyone off because I had the kids, my wife, her friend, and I just dropped them off, and I walked to the parking lot. I was like, oh my god, like this is it was literally like the hottest day of the year. I'm like, this is awful. And I'm like, man, it's probably gonna be so hot in there because it's so packed. And they actually sat us down in the basement. They're like, yeah, it's too hot on the porch to seat people, so we're sitting people in the basement. And when we got into the basement, it was like super cold, and there was nobody in the basement but just us. But by the time we left, it was like shoulder to shoulder packed.
Oh, isn't that the event I went to last year?
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you guys. I saw Patrick Hussey, who, Alex knows, but Otto, I don't know if you and Pat ever really got to know each other. I think that
No,
was
I
before
only-
you.
I only knew him through Alex.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
talked
it was
to him
like-
for a while.
Dude, the Liberty Waves, man, in Maryland. Those were the Ron Paul days. But yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I actually it was funny. I actually called into Normie Talk Radio today on my way home from work.
Oh, that's
1090,
You've been doing
Alex?
that lately.
Yeah, I always like to, because I think they have my number saved, so every now and then I'll call in. But dude, I was telling Otto this weekend, or maybe it was this week, I tried calling in because they're pushing this climate change shit, dude. Like they're pushing it hard.
Oh yeah. Have you looked at the
And-
news report? Look at the
Yeah,
weather-
like
the
all
weather
the news
report.
report. It's like,
Weather
yo,
report.
it's fucking July. It's end of July in Baltimore. Like what the fuck? Like yeah, it's 90 degrees.
all
It's,
blood
it's,
red
it's
and
humid as fuck.
orange
It's like
and-
100. Like this is normal. But have you guys noticed on like all the weather reports and everything? They're all doom and gloom, and they're changing all the graphics and making it all like, this is like the next thing, dude, and it's fucking insane. So they were talking about it on Talk
Oh yeah,
Radio.
I saw one. It was like 10 years ago, and it was like the same temperatures, and the color of the map was like green
Yeah.
and blue.
Dude,
And then
and
now
you
it's like red and yellow, and like got little
Right.
fire graphics all over.
like it used to be like literally
but it's
like
the same fucking temperature it was.
It used to be like smiling suns and
Smiling
happy
suns,
clouds
yeah,
and shit.
Right.
Maybe a sun with like
Now
a
it's all
sweat
death and
drip
despair.
Now
on
it's
it.
like a picture of Satan
Holocaust.
hovering over the.
What
Yeah,
you-
dude,
Look at
it's
Satan.
terrible.
Which station is it, Alex? Is it 680? Is it 1090? Is it
10
FM?
1090 10
1090. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so-
I,
Worked
because they were
up, man.
talking.
He texts us over and he's like, God damn, this fucking normie motherfuckers. And he's just like, I'm on hold. I'm like, oh, Jesus, this is going to be good.
So I was driving home from work. It was like a couple days ago, and I tried to get in, but of course they weren't going to let me on the screener because they were just, just on that normie shit. Like, oh, well, the Democrats would have pushed. I was like, yo, this is not an R&D issue. This is coming from above. Like, you guys are asleep at the wheel. Like, this is an agenda. Like, look what's going on over with the farmers in the Netherlands, and look at all what's going on around the world. Like, this is a fucking agenda. So I think they knew, like, all right, we're going to let you on hold for a while. I think they were intentionally stalling because they didn't want to, they weren't ready for that. And I was just telling everybody, I was like, shit, like 10 years ago, you could call in Normie Talk Radio and you could talk about things. It's the Tom Woods analogy. Like, the 3x5 card of allowable opinion is now like a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch index card of, like, if that.
Well, that's the Overton window, right?
Yeah, but
the Overton window.
But I was surprised I was able to get in. But so I figured out my tactics. I got to just basically come in normie and then drop a gem on them. Like, I got to sneak in. I got to infiltrate the Normie Talk Radio. So driving home today, they were the one guy was flying solo, and he's kind of, I joke with Tierra. I'm like, oh, Carlton. Like, he's this black dude, but he's such a Carlton. Like, his name's Torrey Snow, and
Snow,
like,
yeah,
he's all right, but he's kind of like has that like Carlton vibes, and so he was using the term because I guess his co-host gets grilled all the time, but he's called a rhino, and it's like, oh god, you guys are talking about like rhinos and shit. It's 2022, like they're about to do climate lockdowns, and you motherfuckers are talking about what the definition of a Republican in name only is. I was like, damn, like this is some normie shit. So I just called in and gave him dropped the Michael Malice that, oh, well, a rhino. I said all Republicans are, especially in this state of Maryland, are just progressives driving the speed limit. And just dropped like a couple years ago, because they're giving shit right now about like how extreme, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just every so often, like, you see the grift of these parties and just the shift, and it's like, dude, nothing changes, but they make like, I don't know, man. It's always like every election season, and you've guys seen it. They always come up with like different issues, different grifts, different whatever. And I don't know. It was insane. So I dropped some like, yeah, vote LP, check out our government, like just snuck in. And I said, basically in the state of Maryland, anybody who's still involved in the Republican Party is basically a fucking rhino. Like, come on now. Like, this is so. Yeah, dude, but it's just insane, like how maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, how you could talk about so much more in the mainstream. But, dude, it's like, we talked about it last episode, they're running ads for Pfizer and shit. They're doing like, so their amount of opinions on these, like, on any mainstream media is just so limited, and it's very sad. Very sad. But anyways, went off on a tangent there.
Sorry. Well, since you talked about it, I started listening to that station, to WBAL, and because
dude,
I like the local politics. I like hearing all that stuff. I like hearing about Baltimore City politics and local issues. And there's this black woman named Kim Klasick that's on for a few hours around lunchtime. And
I snuck in on her. I snuck in on her show a couple days ago. Dropped like, because they were talking like, what's the solution in Baltimore about the squeegee kids? Like, I don't know, man. That's like my new tactic. Is just like calling into Normie Talk Radio and just dropping gems on them. And then
so what did you say there?
I just said like, because they were just with the rise.
Did you say end public schools?
Yeah, she got me on. I said, hey, I heard you're going to be speaking at the Hotep Jesus conference, because she's speaking at that. And she's like, oh, yeah, I am. And I was like, hey, Kim, I'm always friendly. I'm like, thanks for taking my call. And, butter them up a little. And then, hey, I heard you're a featured speaker at the Hotep Jesus conference. And I said, yeah, like the violence, and when it comes to the squeegee kids, it's a failure of decades of the welfare warfare system, of the drug war, and ultimately the indoctrination camps that are the public schools. I was like, these kids are not inspired. And I said, Mayor Scott, this whole city council, the only thing that could solve this is a free market private solution, much like Maj is doing up in Philly with the Solution Center, and just drop like facts. Like, if kids aren't at that formidable age, don't have any, they're just going to be lost in the indoctrination camps. And then that was like it. They had to go to a commercial break, and she's like, yeah, like, what Maj, just like getting in and just dropping like truth bombs, and maybe some normies that are listening be like, oh, like, let me check out this Hotep Jesus. Let me check out this Mashre. Michael Malice. Oh, let me check him out. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna red pill the normies via talk radio. So until they like,
not a bad tactic.
I don't know.
Well,
like,
Although who actually listens to that shit?
I do.
All, like,
yeah.
well, Kyle and then like a bunch of like 55-year-olds and older.
Yeah, Republicans. It does. I'm sure have some Republican listeners. So,
But like, there's no young Republicans listening to that shit, are there? I mean,
probably not.
Are there even young Republicans?
The problem with the private schools, though, with the city is they can't afford it. They can't afford private schools. We have these Catholic schools in Baltimore County. I mean, they're as much as college. It's like $20,000 a year.
Insane.
Yeah,
So
it's more than sending my kids to private school. All three of them. It's more than my mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, the best, and so more moderates like.
Do they go to a Catholic school, Otto?
Yeah, they're going. They'll start next year. Catholic school.
Nice.
So each year they broke it out over 12 months. So we've been paying since April or whatever. So yeah, it's more than my mortgage payment. So it's a pretty penny.
But that's for 3 kids. That's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Some people
still more expensive than people can afford, in the inner cities and stuff.
Oh yeah,
that's why programs like we talk about in campaigns when they run about like let the money follow the kids. I mean, they're spending an atrocious amount of money on kids per student in Baltimore City. Let them take that money with them if they want to leave the city schools. Like I always look at like the lines. It's so divisive in Maryland, specifically because we're ranked within the top like. Both counties, like Howard County, in Maryland, I think Howard County is like one of the best in the country for schools, and it's like it's adjacent to the county I live in, and which is also I'm like right in the middle of Baltimore City and Howard County, like some of the worst school systems in the country, and then some of the best in the country, and like the lines are so divisive, and it's such a highly contested thing because people don't want poor kids coming to their school. There's even in Howard County, like I said, it's the richest in the whole nation. There's a poor section of it, like it's called, and it's called Elkridge. And they used to go to school in Ellicott City, which is one of the richest cities in Howard County. And they were districted from Elkridge to there. So they built another high school explicitly to keep them out, but it was so much overflow that they had to build another. So they were still going to this other school called Howard High School. And they fought tooth and nail to get Elkridge kids out of that school. And they did. So now there's another school that's opening up. It's going all the way down, opening up near Laurel, where like the MS-13 gangs are at. That's where these kids, like my bro, like some of my family members' kids are going to be having to go to those schools because they're still in in public schools, and they're going to have to go bus like 25 minutes away to go to school, and it's just a way to keep poor people out of their school. So I say fuck it, let the money follow the kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they move that school boundary, and you can affect people's home values by 25% or something. Like people, like buyers are always like, well, what school district is it in? Where does this feed? It's very it affects real estate prices.
Yeah, the fact that you go on like Zillow or any of these real estate sites. Oh, go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, sorry. Going back to the follow the money thing, though. I mean, we're talking about money that's still stolen money, though.
Yeah.
Like, why not just not take that money from people in the first place?
No, like that's the ultimate.
You know what I mean?
The ultimate. No, you're absolutely right. It's the ultimate, like.
But the thing is,
end goal,
I mean,
ending the government schools.
But the thing is, like, if like the people whose kids are winding up in the shitty schools, like they're probably not even paying that much in taxes anyway. So giving them their money back's not really going to help them. But that's just like a cycle of poverty thing that's just got to be nipped in the bud at some point. You got to stop the welfare system. You got to stop incentivizing this.
I think it's like a regressive plot to destroy the public government school systems. That's all the whole thing. It's like, oh, this is a start. It's like playing the progressive game back in the 1900s. Like, oh yeah, we'll just start this whole thing of government schools. We'll start this whole thing. It's fine. No worries.
The whole progressive era needs to be abolished.
And then with that came, oh well, we need to have laws that force children going to school. You're like, what? Like, no, that's not what I thought this was about. So this is kind of like a reverse form of that. And I know a lot of people are probably cringing at the idea of, oh, let the money follow the kids. Of course I don't. I want to completely abolish government school. I literally, that's all I do on these posts, in these groups, in these Howard County groups. I go in there and they're complaining about the schools or something like this. And my immediate response is always abolish government schools. And I get the stereotypical responses. Oh, so you just want to live next to a bunch of uneducated people? Like, I was like, well, I already do that. And
I already have
products of
I
government.
do it, and in this way, I don't have to pay for it. Like it just is what it is.
Right?
Yeah, dude. Like the fact, like
people think that they're actually getting educated in these schools, but they're not. They're not. Maybe like 1%. But those kids would probably find education elsewhere.
You just paid for like overpriced books. Like, why are they still using books? Or you just paid for a new Apple iPads and a new football field, and
they don't pay for air conditioning.
They don't pay for air conditioning. These kids are like, the schools are so hot in the city, and you're like, you guys get so much money. Why? How do you not have
the money goes into the BMWs that you see out in the parking lot.
I guess it does.
That's where the fucking money goes. The money goes to the superintendents and the CEO that makes 300 whatever grand a year.
Yeah, dude, the six-figure salaries are
going. It's
fucking insane, dude. It's like, for example, my aunt, she's a retired school teacher from southeastern Pennsylvania. She retired. She got out of the game like a while ago. She saw where it was going, but the fact that, I was gonna say, bring up Pat's comment. This is pretty good.
He says, went to a school board debate last week. The biggest issue was cell phones in schools. They barely mentioned our school with an F rating.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah,
the problem is kids aren't paying attention. It's not that you just it's just a fucking
the high school
camp.
That my kids are, the high school I'm District 2 right now in my county is the worst in like the whole state. It's ranked like 2 out of 10, and it's literally sinking into the ground, and it has no air conditioning. Like, and they keep on like, so the county keeps on like sending money to these other schools, and they're not doing anything to help the school because it's right near the city line. It's where the poor people, like poor communities are, and they don't care. They don't give a fuck. So it's like you keep saying, oh, we just need more money, but it's always to line their pockets, never to fix anything. It's such bullshit. And I can't believe, like, it's the same story over and over and over again. Every election cycle, it's, we need more money. We need more money.
Yeah, my aunt, she's retired. So, yeah, she saw that coming. Like, that's the way it was. Like, she's probably been retired for like 25, 30 years now. But maybe 20 some years. But long story short, she saw the rise of all these six-figure salaries. It used to just be a principal and a vice principal. And then it's just like, well, we need this administrator. Then we need a special ed. We need this. We need that. We need it just more and more. It was kind of like the Office Space. Like, I report to 11 people, I write 11 different TPS reports, It's like, how many more fucking bosses do you need? And they're all six-figure salaries. And it's always like curriculum changes and, oh, we're going to change this. And, oh, we're doing this next year. And, oh, we're going to fully fund this. And it's just more and more and more. And she was a home ec teacher. They don't even teach home economics anymore. They don't even teach like useful, like metal shop, wood shop, at least like, you can learn how to like make a bowl or make something useful in wood shop,
Do they at least have gender studies? I mean, at a minimum.
The important
I want the kids ready for the world,
Just open up a TikTok account.
I mean, I don't have to explain to you guys like the inefficiency of government. Do you think some of this is just it's government trying to run an operation and they're not very good at it?
I think it's just like going back to like what Pat said. I think for the longest time, people just been asleep at the wheel, and they're finally seeing it. I think COVID just finally exposed parents to these indoctrination camps and just seeing like what a fucking failure it is. So
I mean, to go back to Kyle's question though, like, yeah, that's part of it, but it's also you're running an institution that is not responsive to market pressures, right? It's responsive to like electing bureaucrats or nothing, like, or like, someone
test scores
in Congress,
standardized test scores.
Someone in Congress passes some like arbitrary metric of standards that you suddenly gotta, oblige, and then it's like, whereas like if you had a legitimate market for private schooling where each school had to compete. And it was basically like, who's producing the kids that are like succeeding in life? Like, that's where I want to send my kids, right?
Yeah.
I don't care about test scores. I don't care about GPAs. I care about like who's getting, a job right out of school, or who's getting into.
or graduation, like
colleges or
graduation
whatever.
rates. Yeah, or they base it on graduation rates, and you got kids graduating on a 5th grade reading level.
Yeah,
you know,
can't
it's
read.
Like, congratulations,
can't
they graduated, but
yeah,
they can't do shit. But awesome, you're gonna keep getting funding, because as long as you like maintain, you're gonna maintain your funding. Like that's all it is. Just do the least amount possible, and you're gonna be all right.
I mean, that's part of the case for charter schools, and that's, you know, which purist libertarians would oppose, and other people that are more pragmatic are like, okay, let's go the charter school route. At least we get their private institutions, and parents can have a choice to say, you know, you're doing a good job, I'll send my kids to you, or you're not, and I won't send my kids to you. You know, it gives the consumer at least a little bit of choice. So, I mean, I'm supportive of that.
They have some public funding, right?
It's all, I think, I don't know if it's all publicly funded, but I think it is. If you get a voucher, so it's like, hey, you have 3 kids, here's 3 vouchers. You can send your kids where you want, and then the school gets the tuition from the government. You know, so it's paid by taxpayer money, but the parent gets to choose where they send their kids.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not preferable, but I mean, I view it as a start, because the teachers unions fucking hate charter schools. All the right people hate it. So it's, you know, all the wrong people hate it. So it's like, is it that bad? As a start, it's not I mean, it's not my end goal. It's not what I would like to wake up tomorrow and see. But at the same time, though, it's anything to just disrupt this bullshit government system. I mean, you do what you can, and at this point, I don't care. I don't care how statist that makes me sound. I don't give a fuck. So if that's what you're gonna run on, cool. I'm cool with that.
Well, Rothbard was very critical of that. He was always like, "Oh, it's a compromise. We're compromising our principles." You know, but you could also view it as a stepping stone in the right direction. So, you know,
who said this, Rothbard or Ron Paul?
Rothbard. I remember reading Rothbard when he was critical of the charter school compromise.
But then he also said unleash the police. So, like, which Rothbard are we talking about here?
Which then Jared said about the squeegee kids. So
yeah,
I said I'm becoming sympathetic. No,
Jared Hop over here.
Kim Klasick calls them extortion kids or something like that. Squeegee is not. Squeegee extortionists. That's what
I mean. They're definitely violating. They're definitely violating the NAP, right?
Really?
So, you know, I don't know how you respond to that in a state of society, but
yeah, you know, I've given a lot of thought to it, and part of the reason is because of Marilyn Mosby, who has had a not enforce the small stuff kind of mentality, and so the police haven't been making arrests because Mosby's not going to prosecute them. So, but my concern is that if you let the small stuff go, the bigger stuff goes too, right? People go, well, I got away with this, so maybe I can get away with more. And so it's like the slippery slope of crime, and that concerns me.
Or you just stop enforcing, or you stop having bad laws like drug laws and loitering and shit like that, and you just stop people from harassing motorists. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have, you know, if you're gonna have this kind of a structure in place, like that's where it should do its work. It shouldn't be like some dude smoking a joint on the side of the road or busting down someone's door because they're.
Yeah, it's like, why do we have to pick and choose which thing like we want them to force? How about we stick to, hey, nonviolent crimes? We don't want you enforcing nonviolent crimes.
Right.
Theft is violence. Like, that's a crime. Enforce that. Enforce the shoplifting laws, but don't enforce people smoking joints and dealing drugs. Like, this is so stupid. It's just so simple, and they try to make it complex and be like, "Whoops, daisy, I don't know what to do." So you guys, we're trying to figure it out because we're the smart politicians. No, it's just a game. It's a fucking cycle, man. It's all bullshit.
True. Very true.
As soon as I said that, my power flickered, and I was like, "Oh my god, am I getting shut down?"
You want to talk about that, Alex?
What? Oh, he's on mute, so I guess not.
Oh no, just the power grid's going down. It's Klaus Schwab and what's the Cyber Polygon?
Did you hear about that?
Like, Cyber Polygon.
Dude. That's the shit they're gonna push, man.
He said Paulie died from The Sopranos. That happened this week.
I just added it to the topic. We didn't have to talk, but Paul Sorvino
my favorite
died.
character of the show.
Or Goodfellas, Goodfellas using a movie. You're thinking, what do you think, Phil? You're thinking,
Paulie.
It's from The Sopranos.
He's one of my favorite characters in the show.
Oh, is he in The Sopranos too?
Dude, he's a major character on The Sopranos. Paulie. Or are you talking about a different Paulie?
No, yeah. Paul Sorvino was in Goodfellas. He was Uncle Paul. He was remember at the end when he was just...
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Yeah. I don't know. Never mind. You're thinking Godfather, not that's.
No. Goodfellas.
What is going on here? We're getting way
Get
into
it
the
together.
weeds here.
Pull up the dots.
So the guy from The Sopranos, Sopranos who played Paulie died.
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God.
He did.
He just lost so many viewers after that.
He died a while ago.
It was like this week.
I don't know. Who knows?
Dude,
he died. It was like it was like this past week.
Yeah. So, and then Alex is talking about a different Paulie.
Yeah. Well,
from Goodfellas.
Goodfellas, Uncle Paul.
Oh, yeah, that guy died too.
Yeah, Paul
Ray
Sorvino,
Liotta.
but his real name Paul Sorvino.
No, not Ray Liotta.
He died. Ray Liotta died.
Yeah, he did. But another guy from Goodfellas died. Wow, this is great.
What are we talking about here? What's going on?
Boomer as fuck. I'm like,
this is amazing.
I just put it in the private chat to talk about it later.
I'm like, let's talk about Paulie, man. I was a big Sopranos fan.
Are we talking about Paulie D? What are we talking about?
Every episode of that.
Paulie D's nuts.
Oh, damn. You guys totally derailed.
I know.
Anyways, what else we were talking about? Jesus.
Good topic, Alex.
Let's get it together here.
Man. So here, I don't know why this doesn't make sense. This makes no sense to the context. This is like an awful transition. But Jared, go play the clip of the woman comedian, the one I just posted for the YouTube and the YouTube link. It's pretty funny. I just ran across it. It just made me laugh. It was just funny. So I want to play it real quick. It's making its rounds on social media, and it's just a funny thing. I just wanted to dip into before we go, just for a quick little larf.
Let's dip into this larf. 1 second.
There we go.
That was crazy for the pandemic. And one of my girlfriends, she hit me up and she was like, yo, we got to do more.
It's about the BLM protests.
We do. Like, we done been to 15 marches. She was like, nah, but we got to do more. And I was like, well, what else do you want to do? She was like, I'm sick of these cops killing black men. And I was like, but you done had 10 abortions. You've killed more black men in the city of New York City.
It gets better.
Oh, shit.
Oh, your kids gonna be in heaven like, who was you? Why you marching for them other people? Why you ain't marching for us?
Damn.
And she was white. I was like, damn.
That's the best line right here.
You better stop killing these babies. I remember this black.
Oh man, that was great. I'm sorry. There's just a quick little life. I just had to get that out of the way. Sorry.
All right. Man. Yeah, dude. That was so the Bill Burr special. He was saying some.
Yes, Bill Burr. Now everyone's making. They're all making memes about it, and they're all claiming it as if it was their own phrase. But it's also from Bill Burr.
Yeah. Kyle, you watched it, right? I didn't.
I watched the Bill Burr special on Netflix at Red Rocks this week, and I mean, it was hilarious. You know, Bill Burr is one that I'm sure he pulls a few punches, but he is definitely on the cutting edge as far as saying what he wants to say and being controversial, and he's careful about it, like, because you'll get canceled if you say the wrong thing. But like, he had on abortion, he's like, well, I'm pro-choice, and the crowd goes nuts. All these women are screaming, and he's like, ladies, I saw that clip. Yeah. Give me a sec. Let me finish the joke. Before you jump on my train, let me finish I think he says, before you climb in the trunk, let me finish the joke.
Before you climb in the trunk.
He's like, but on the other side, it's pro-life, and they say that it's killing babies, and he's like, which is also true. And he's like, so I support abortions, but it is killing babies. Let's not pretend it's something other than what it is. So, kind of taking both sides there. I don't know. It's an interesting take on the matter, but yeah, it's a controversial topic for libertarians. Also, our movement's like really split on it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
it is. It absolutely is. You have a baby inside of a woman, so that creates a pretty tough, pretty unique situation to have to deal with. You want to respect her bodily autonomy, and you don't want to kill a fetus. So it's a tricky situation there.
PRL's even torn up.
Yeah, I bet they are. Yeah, I mean it's a horrible topic.
Us here?
Yeah.
It does nothing but divide.
Jared
people.
loves killing babies.
No, I just remain agnostic on the thing.
Talk about anything else?
Well, it's actually funny that you mention this today because my brother, because we have this local election that just happened here in Maryland where the Democrats is some just typical run-of-the-mill Democrat, just nothing special about this guy, and the Republican is this guy. He's like
this is for governor, right?
Yeah, for governor. Sorry, for governor. And the primaries just happened, and so he won. His name is Daniel Cox. And he's all like totally, he sings like the pro-life.
He's the ultra MAGA. He's ultra MAGA.
Yeah, he's like the MAGA guy, but he like talks pro-life. And my brother, who's actually, he doesn't really fall anywhere on the political spectrum, but he votes Republican. But he was like, what is David Lasher is our guy who's running for as libertarian here in Maryland. And he was like, what does David Lasher think about the whole Roe versus Wade thing? And I'm like, well, he takes the position that government shouldn't be involved with it. He's like, all right, well, he has my vote. It's the first time I'll ever vote for a non-Republican. I was like,
wow.
Damn. Like, okay. Wow. I'll take it, even though it's probably one of the least things I find about him that I like, but whatever.
Libertarians like that stance. I'm not a fan of that argument. I do think it's like kind of a cop-out because they're going to take the laws are going to be one way or the other. Either it's going to be allowed or it's not going to be allowed. And if you say, well, government's going to stay out of it, it's kind of like you're saying you're pro-choice because if they're not going to stop the behavior, then it's going to happen, right?
I mean, yeah, in the current state of things, but I mean, one could frame it a way of like, would I want to live in a community that tolerates this or one that kind of shuns it,
Guys,
that's how I'd want to think about it.
Once again, I think this is the second time we've been debating this without having a birthing person on. I think the third time we talk about it without a birthing person present.
Whatever. I'm just
that's for cis white males. I don't think non-birthing people. Well, we don't even know. Like none of us are biologists, so. But
I mean, you want to change the topic? We can.
I mean, that's part of my argument, though. Is like I don't know. Like. I don't know if it's murder or not. I can't say for sure. So like I just remain agnostic.
I'm for I don't know. I mean, I'm pro-life as an individual. I don't want the fucking government involved in it. But how do you get there? I don't know. I mean, ideally, I'd like 10,000 Liechtensteins, like the Hoppe approach. Like, okay, maybe next town over there they do that, but we don't do that here. Whatever the case may be, and people funding it themselves. But I think it's a cultural issue too. Like that's the thing. It's like. How did this become such a?
I mean, would you want to go like if you're pro-life? Would you want to go around like raiding other villages to like protect all the babies getting aborted?
No, I don't want to do. I don't want to do that either.
You know what I mean? Like at some point, it's just a matter of like. But if like the next door village was like just openly just murdering adults walking around, like then I might want to intervene. But I don't know if I'd want to do it for like aborted babies. You know what I mean? That's kind of like one way of thinking about it. But yeah.
I just hear. I mean, we're never hurt. I don't know. I'm looking at this thing now on Twitter. It just posted like a minute ago. Excuse me, and it's the Washington Post, and it says the headline is Biden moves to reinstate health protections for LGBTQ Americans, and then underneath, and then it describes what the article is. It says the proposal would also cover pregnant women seeking healthcare services, including abortion. Okay, so I guess it says also cover. They changed it. It said also cover. Okay, so I was thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, how are these two things related? Like, I'm so confused. That it's just, man, it's such a hot topic of stuff. And I understand where abortion is in society. Like, this is where I understand. For me, it's cut and dry, but I know it's been swept up into women's rights and this whole thing, which I feel like Roe versus Wade did when they enacted it. Like, it forced it into this whole new cultural political football, and it's now like the sacred cow that like you just will never convince a normie otherwise. Like that, like it is what it is. Like to me, it's killing a baby. Like it just is. But at the same time, I understand how everyone feels. Like I'm the minority on that almost. You know, like I'm the crazy person in this situation in everyone's eyes. So what I would like to see is a society that
crazy.
just. I know, but I'm saying like
like I said, I don't know if it's a baby or not. Like I don't know. Like I'm kind of agnostic. I haven't heard a solid argument in either direction. So like I just kind of bow out of that.
I could shed you some articles and stuff. But anyway, but the point is
but I think it's a philosophical question though, so I don't know if there is an answer.
I know something I've been thinking about, and you know, it's kind of on a personal level, like how I've been drifting more conservative the older I get, which I think happens to a lot of people. But I was thinking about the squeegee kids, and I was thinking about the crime in Baltimore. They had a video of the dirt bikes. You know, they're like roving the streets with dirt bikes and ATVs. And it was like a pack of them going through like a red light. And you know, our culture, things have like since I've been a kid, like things have gotten. There's more violence, right? There's more violence in video games. There's more violence in movies. There's more blood, gore, death. Things have gotten like looser. People don't dress up as much as they used to. People aren't as respectful as they used to be. I feel like society has sort of maybe gotten a little loose. But what I was really wanted to get at was like the influence of family on like these outcomes for the kids in the city. Right? Like if you ever watched the show The Wire, there's 4 boys. And I'm on a Wire fans group on Facebook, and we're talking about these 4 boys and their outcomes and how like they all kind of fell into the drug gang. They ended up either drug addicted or dealing, you know, and it was a lack of a stable family. And so like
except for the one guy.
Yeah, the one guy gets adopted basically and it starts doing his homework, but you know, the point of it is like, you know, that's a reality for so many people. And it's like, as we've gotten more liberal or more loose with premarital sex, you know, not and having kids, not being married.
Kyle's going full trad here.
Yeah.
Kyle wants to refund the Pray the Gay Away camps.
Change your candle to trad wags.
Here is am I becoming traditionalist? Just as I'm looking at these outcomes and looking at all these people who are struggling or who are turning to life of crime, yet they have no father, and the mother can't support the family financially or can't keep track of the kids or isn't providing the discipline. And we're seeing sort of this crack up, especially in the cities. But I mean, you know, it's just a cultural change where maybe the trads had a point, right? That's the question. Maybe there's something to the wait to have sex until you're married and then have kids and then have a full family unit, you know, instead of like having 3 kids before you're 21 and then not being able to support them and having no father.
So right? I understand what you're saying, and what you're responding to is like a reaction to the reaction of like coming out of the 1960s and 70s was reacting to the 1950s thing, what you're talking about, the traditional thing. So it's just a reaction. I feel like, so everyone goes to one end or the other. They're not in, like, I feel like people just need to find a balance in life. And I think a lot of stuff
it might just be being responsible about your sexual behavior, not necessarily like avoiding it, you know?
Yeah. Or
like
becoming it.
Yeah. Like just being more responsible and understanding like, well, if I have these kids, the government's not going to be there to pay for them. Like, I'm going to have to pay for that shit.
Dude, that's the other thing. That's the other thing that's so fucking lost in the conversation with like when it comes to the libertarian debate, when it comes to Roe versus Wade. It's like, hey, remember we used to be the party of personal responsibility? How about let's fucking talk about that? Like, look, if you want to fuck around, take precautions. Like, there's birth control. There's ways of doing this. You could talk to like, there's ways to avoid this situation. Take personal responsibility for your own lives and take responsibility for those around you. Take responsibility for your family. Like, do the right thing. Like, you know, so I don't know, that's at some point, like Kyle said, there's personal responsibility. Like, you know, because the statistics don't lie. I mean, typically, you know, you do the right thing, things usually end up okay, you know, in the long run.
So what you're saying is, soaking, right? We should try to get the kids into that,
soaking. Right? Oh no.
Wait,
no.
what is soaking?
Oh no.
Well, that's gross. What the Mormon kids, so they don't want to have sex, right? So what you do is you put the penis in the girl and then you just let it soak. There's no thrusting.
No thrusting.
Just in there. And then what you do is you get a friend to jump on the bed. That kind of creates some motion. It's not sex.
Yes, this is a thing. This is actually a thing.
Yeah, I've heard this before, actually.
So gross.
What the hell is going on?
Good idea, Alex.
Soaking. Oh, so gross. Just the term soaking is what's grossing me out. Like,
well, that's going to be the name of the podcast.
Moist. Is it moist soaking?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, Alex. I mean, personal responsibility and that would be a good starting point. I just look at the lack of families. I look at all the lack of I shouldn't say lack of families because usually it's like single parent. That's still a family, but it's hurting us.
Yeah, at the end of the day too, it's like home training. Like my girlfriend said all the time. Like it's like you have, fortunately, you have it in society, but at the end of the day, regardless of what your parents, it takes like people like strong role models, like older, like adults to fucking step up. We've just had like a lot of men just not fucking step up. We've had a lot of like just people not doing the right thing and stepping up and being responsible. And I think like the welfare state has slowly like eroded at that, like, oh, well, the government will take care of that. The government, well, things are falling apart and people are realizing like, guess what? Like, after a couple generations of this, maybe there is something to doing the right thing and being responsible and, being a responsible fucking adult, like grow up, take care of business.
Yeah. It's a balance. It's a balance thing. And people realize like you can be like, it's just like people put too many chains on themselves. They put themselves in too many rules and it's fine. So then like the ultimate thing is when people like want to break free from that, they break free from all chains and they're just like, no, I don't want to be responsible for anything. And I don't want to have to do this whole societal norm. And I don't want to, like, it's just like, so they rebel against everything as opposed to finding the balance between, hey, what's too much, what's too little. And it's like people go stir crazy in their head. That's what you see people shooting up the place and shit. And you see people like they turn to drugs,
medications too, man. All the all the ADD, like all this shit. Like, I don't know. That's another thing too. Like, I don't know.
It's everything. It's just people can't find a balance within themselves. So they just go to one extreme to another. And it's either self-harming with addictions or they outwardly harm other people for attention. And it's like this weird thing. It's like, okay, yeah, you can be completely chainless, but that's also becomes a chain itself. Being, in my mind, it's like, wow, you're fighting so hard to not have any chains. It's like, that's another rule you're creating for yourself. It's another chain. It's like, you have to find balance somewhere. And I have to practice what I preach here. And it's hard for me to do that. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Is you might notice some of my posts on social media, especially when I get hammered, I start thinking existentially about life and where I'm at. And as a person, and as a husband, a father, as a person on this planet. And I feel like we need to start doing better for ourselves. And I posted like a St. Ignatius quote. I didn't want to give credit to who said the quote I posted just because I figured I'd freak Jared out.
Wait, what did St. Ignatius do? Murder Jews or something?
No. He should have, but he didn't.
Missed opportunity.
No. So the quote is, it sounds like a simple generic quote you probably heard from any like self-help book, but it said, where is it? He who goes about to reform the world must begin with himself, or he loses his labor. And like, it's just like, I was like, that's, yeah, man. Like, that's what it starts. And so you just got to start, and it starts up here. Like, it starts up here. Change starts up here. And I know that sounds so corny and redundant, and you've heard it a billion times, but it does. It starts in the head. It starts in the head. The heart starts, you got to start somewhere. And you can only control what you can control. So like when people, like I see this shit all the time too, where people get so hung up on things. They're like, other people are doing what they're supposed to do. And it's almost like a form of egotistical entitlement almost. Like when you hold the door for somebody and that person doesn't say thank you and you get pissed off. You're like, why the fuck did that person not say thank you? But that's not why you should hold the door for somebody. You should hold the door for somebody because you would like it if your hands were full and someone held the door for you. And then people become resentful of people, then like people get so nihilistic and, or I don't even know the word, but like they get so like, in this mode where they get mad at people for holding the doors for them. Like they dread
it's like,
oh no, this guy's holding the door for me. Like, oh, like I gotta rush. I gotta hurry up and rush to the door. And it's like, God, it's like they're so cynical.
There's that awkward like Larry David moment though when you're like, I wish that guy just wouldn't hold the door because now I gotta like run across the parking lot.
But that's up in here, man. Like that's such a weird thing.
Dude, I'll do it. But there's some like I take like
I'm the same
you're too
way.
far. I'm good. Like you can do if you're right behind
just wave them off.
There's a limit. There's a limit.
Yeah,
like
you got a limit.
There's not even going in that door.
You're like 50 yards away, and he's like, "All right, got you, man."
Yeah, someone in a fucking
you're like,
walker.
wait,
and you're
I'm going to the subway. I'm going to the thing next door. Not going. Sorry.
Don't hold the door until you see the whites of their eyes.
Rules for six. What is it? 6 rules for door holding.
Yeah. What was or what was that?
Right.
Yeah. Then you get the feminists who are like, I can hold my own door. It's like, okay. I mean, dude, we've had that.
God,
dude, remember?
I get what you're saying though, Otto.
Different mob movie.
I mean, I definitely vibe with the idea of like, it's really hard for you to, you have to be like, it's the fake Gandhi quote of like, you be the change that you want to see in the world, right? That's like that's basically what you're sort of reiterating with that, and he goes away.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
And he's gone.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's like I think there's a lot of people that do charity and stuff, but it ends up being less productive and less efficient because they are themselves like a mess. I feel like you kind of see that a lot, like you come to find out like activists and stuff that are like trying to change the world. They end up just being like total messes. Yeah. Where it's like if you had spent the time to like fix yourself and get yourself in a good place, that gives you like a good foundation from which to actually like help people. It gives you like a good
post-libertarian thing. Like that's what they're all talking about. Like, but they kind of come off as like fucking assholes when they say like you should be involved in the liberty movement unless you have $20,000 in the bank. You're like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm not even talking. You don't have to have. I don't care about.
I know you're not
wealth.
saying that, but like that's the extreme version of that.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's true. Like, and like,
yeah, you shouldn't be like living on the street, But like, if you're like, I mean, even if you're like a young, a really young person who hasn't like established their life yet, that doesn't mean that you can't work towards like fixing yourself and just having like a strong like moral center and like internal foundation, and then I mean, make sure you're taking care of business, but
you got to start out somewhere too. And the other aspect of a lot of our political activism is also just networking. I mean, we genuinely like to be around each other. We genuinely like each other's company. We like to network. Just your network is your net worth. So it's like, hey, like a fucking like, right. Hey, like Joe, who was commenting, like he helped me out, like doing some fucking plumbing. It's like, okay, cool. And Doug Stanley, he's like doing some off-grid shit, and it's just like, so every now and then I'll help him out. It's like just learning from all these people within the liberty sphere, gardening, like doing backyard garden. Like you want to be inspired, like, and network with these individuals, because at the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, like I want to keep in touch with you fuckers,
Yeah.
There's a lot, because that's what's coming.
That's community.
It's building community,
and that's what we talk
like,
about.
So
yeah. Before you'd have like churches and community centers. Now we just have memes in the internet.
Right?
Like video chat. I mean, like we used to
Anarchy Bar
hang out. The 4 of us used to get together for these podcasts, right? 5 of us, and now it's all one video.
It's a lot easier.
It is a lot easier. Yeah.
It works in our favor that way. And I
don't really miss driving down 40 to Bergman's house every week.
Right.
No, it was cool.
I mean, it was cool. I just don't miss the driving part.
Yeah, and I think the connections too. It was really good being in person. I think there was an aspect to that we were afraid we were going to lose. When we started doing this online, but I really think though, like it's just the connection of all of us. That's why I always invite like the same usual people on, because like I know we're like friends, and like we can get along and we can talk about stuff, and personal aspects of my life that nobody else knows, just through the sheer fact of not trying to get doxxed or whatever. But you know, like and I think that's where this change starts from. It starts from having friends, good set of friends, good people to rely on, and what you know, some people don't have families. Some people just like, and you know what? Some people just want to live a life like there's totally people out there who just want to live like a completely crazy sexual identity and life and experiences and stuff. And I think there's some people I know personally that I would never have guessed that they were swingers. I would have never guessed that. And then, oh my God. Oh, who is this?
Who's coming?
We got someone. Oh boy. I challenged someone and he showed up.
Oh shit.
What's up,
special
man?
Guest.
What's up, guys?
Late to Liberty,
What's going
my
on?
friend. What's up, dude?
Not much. How's it going?
Dan
I don't know what
Smart.
this is. I just got a link and I clicked it because he called me a coward. So
We are live.
you're just
I
shooting the
called you
shit.
coward.
nice.
It was what you did to Dave Smith to get him to come on your show, and I accidentally sent it to you, and I didn't mean to send it to you, but then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna say, "Come on, you coward," and it
Perfect.
worked.
Perfect. I'm down. I am more likely to come on a show if somebody just sends me a link at random and says, "If you happen to be free, come on." And I just happen to be free. I don't have very much time, but I figured I'd drop by and say what's up.
That's fine. We're
That's
gonna
great,
record
man.
for another 10 minutes. You good for another 10 minutes?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Dan Smots, everybody. Everyone, give a round of applause for Dan Smots. Woo!
Thank you.
What's up, man? We're hitting some serious existential, moral. It was some deep shit going on, and I heard a little bloop, and there you were. And I was like, oh yeah,
Nice.
there we go.
Yeah.
So
You were ready to come on. You have a microphone and a headset set up and everything. So, do you have a show?
Does he have
Yes,
a
he
show?
does. Why don't
This
you
is-
tell the good
This
people?
is literally the
listening?
second time I've been on this show and have been asked the question, "Who the fuck are you?" So I'm not sure if this is the second
Yeah.
out of more times or if this is the last time. But yes, I do have a show.
We like to
This
make
is-
people feel
this is
welcome
Kyle.
here on the show.
I missed that one. I'm
Kyle's
sorry.
been away for a while. He's been away for a while.
It's all
Yeah.
good. It's all good. Yeah, I've got a show. The System is Down is the show.
All right,
On the hat.
got it.
Conspiracies,
Dude,
politics, religion, libertarian shit.
How about that Ron DeSantis ad biting your soundtrack, Dan?
That motherfucker. I mean,
What happened?
it was, yeah, he used the same background music as what I used for one of the Jeremy Kaufman ads. I think it was the
Oh, damn.
Reptiles ad.
No,
Which
I think
is,
was it the climate? I think it was the climate change.
oh yeah, it was the climate change one.
Let me try. Let me pull up the docs.
Yeah,
Let's
pull
see.
that one up.
So Kyle, Dan makes some of the best videos you'll ever see in the LP.
Bangers. Yeah, we could talk about
Yeah,
that
total
because
club bangers.
we could end it out on this. This is perfect timing, Dan, because yeah, I was kind
We
of
got
like
some time.
I was getting into it with some regime libertarians regarding that commercial, and it's like, and it was the
You
dude
got
from
me in
Cato, dude
Yeah.
from yeah, and then
Boaz?
yeah, and then figuritarians were threatened to dox Otto. But anyways, we don't want to talk. We don't want to waste time with that shit.
That's
But-
nice. See,
but this was-
I don't do that shit. I put the stuff out, and then if somebody disagrees, I'm just like, fine, go ahead and disagree. I'm gonna be over here making more. I'm just on to the next thing. I don't care. Like,
Right.
yes, get mad about it. We are literally like 4 or 5 ads deep into this campaign. They're still bitching about the first one. They don't even realize that there's a shit ton more out there.
Right. So this was you already saw it, Kyle, the War is Gay video, but I think this is the docs of just people responding to that David Boaz. But let me find the DeSantis video where they were biting your soundtrack, which was very sad. Very sad.
I mean, it's not like I made the track and they stole it.
Oh, no. It's
So
like stock
whatever.
from Microsoft.
It's stock from Envato Elements.
Okay.
So
But they must have they're onto something. They're like, that Dan guy makes good videos. We
Yeah.
gotta steal his soundtrack.
first we had the what was it? The PsyOps division putting out their Ghost in the Machine ad that was totally jacking my style. Now we've got Ron DeSantis jacking my style too. So, you know, I'm at least a little bit flattered. No, I'll pretend like they know who I am, which I'm sure that they don't, but I will pretend that they do. And they just want a piece of this. Which, by the way, Ron DeSantis has much more money than Jeremy Kaufman. So, Ron, if you're looking for ads, you know, I'm a whore. I'm not cheap, but I am a whore.
Well, Roger Stone watches us, so we know Roger Stone watches. So maybe he might put in a word for you.
Nice. Roger. Whoever. I don't care. Whatever. Fuck it. The PsyOps division. I'll make ads for them. I don't care.
And if you want to start, if you have a need for a fat guy with weird neck tattoo,
He's gonna
I'm
produce
your
the
guy.
next. He's gonna
I'll be
produce
a
the next
star.
COVID rap video.
Yeah.
You know,
Next
the next
COVID
COVID
mumble rap.
propaganda rap video with
Among-
Run.
Monkeypox.
Was it Run or
Get your
D
monkeypox
or,
vaccine.
The run DMC, that was so
Yeah.
bad. We played that last week.
It was gangster.
Oof, cringe. Oh,
It was so gangsta.
You got the vaccine.
How many?
But I'm sure
How
they
many
paid a lot
black
of
folks do you
money.
think were swayed into getting the vaccine because of that? Like,
No.
oh man,
How many
Dude,
white
spitting.
people? Probably a lot.
A lot.
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
right.
Like it's cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, the
oh, this
colored
is
gentlemen are
cool.
doing it.
It's got
I
run
should
on
get
it.
I should get a COVID shot, honey.
All the thugs are doing it. All the homies. Let's go get it.
Yeah, this was the Ron DeSantis video. I just
Is
posted
it?
in there.
You just
Are we-
posted our
are we-
Twitter account, dude.
Yeah, you just posted our
Oh,
Twitter
no.
account. You didn't even-
Oh,
You do
boomer.
that all the
Dope.
time.
Alex is always boomer the links, dude.
Because I got to email him to myself. I got like
He's just
How'd I
trying to
email?
sneakily sneak plugs in there. Like, oh yeah, check this out. Oh, whoops, wrong link. My bad.
Whoops, sorry about that.
Well, while you're there, you should always, if anyone is not following us on Twitter, please follow us on Twitter and give Dan a good follow too.
Agreed. I am
Yeah,
following
can't
you.
argue
I
with
had to look to make sure. I am following you. Yes.
You sent
better
me this
be.
like boomer libertarian thing. Is this
What boomer libertarian thing?
Oh, it was it's I guess it's David Boaz reacting
Oh,
to
that guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
don't worry about
He's
that.
reacting to Dan's video for Jeremy.
Yeah,
Oh, there
Oh,
was
like
that
nice.
Cato,
guy.
a guy from Cato's upset about Dan's video. So.
Wait, there's
I-
like an upset reaction video about it. 'Cause I'd
No,
rather
no,
watch
he's
that.
he just posted it and said what in the actual F dash 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 because he's a coward and can't say
It was for your
fuck.
war is gay
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
video.
I like how he's just this thing's been out for like half a year, hasn't it?
It's been a while. It's been
Yeah.
since Liberty
It's
Forum.
been a while.
So it was like
It's been a while.
I don't know, March. I think March somewhere in there that we put it
Yeah.
out. It's been a bit.
This guy's now seeing it. Okay.
Yeah, it was the Pennsylvania Libertarian Convention because I remember seeing a thing said war is gay. And looking at it from Jeremy, like, oh my god, what is this?
Yeah, I think like it's blown up right now
So
because
good.
the LP Twitter just shared it the other day, and then a bunch
Oh,
of people
that's
started
right.
freaking out about it.
That's
So
right.
like, I mean, again, I put these things out, and I don't really even pay that much attention to the traction on them. I just move on to the next thing, and if it comes back around, I'm like, sweet, people are paying attention. And the LP shared it, I was like, cool. And then I was like, this is gonna be interesting to see where this goes. And a whole lot of people noticed it all of a sudden, or decided to chime in and leave the party. And Godspeed, more power to them.
It did its work.
Oh man, it's
Not
such
that I
a
want
great
them to
video.
leave. If they want to be, cool people, they can stay. I don't care. That's fine.
But the sheer fact that like every every wrong libertarian had the worst take on it when they're like, how do you think I feel as an LGBT candidate for the LP right now?
I don't know.
And
How
I'm
do
like,
you think? How do you feel about the CIA pandering to LGBTQ people? Isn't that what you should be
Thank
upset
you.
about? Like that's the entire
Thank you.
point. And the fact that people are so dense and autistic that this goes so over their head, like it did
Right.
exactly the point that it was meant to. It got people riled up because they assumed one thing about it. Some people watched it and still tried to assume that it's anti-gay, which it's clearly not anti-gay. They still want to hold that narrative, no matter like they cannot accept the fact that it's not, and they never will, no matter how you explain it to them. But it's like all these people who are like, well, I'm anti-war, but why'd you have to make it all about gay? It's like that,
Right.
because that's what got you to pay attention to it. Like that's what got all these people to pay attention to it, is that it triggered some people into watching. And if you watch it and you actually think below like basic like childish surface level thought, then you'll realize that this is a joke, and the joke is not gay people are bad, obviously.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got like
I mean-
17,000 views on it so far, the video. And I know Jeremy's coming under a lot of shit because he posted, he was like, yeah, I'm for reparations. He's like either you get a plane ticket back to Africa or you shut the fuck up.
Look, I don't endorse every Jeremy
Yeah, me too.
I
Wait,
might
my
laugh
God,
at them, but that doesn't mean I stand behind
Yeah,
all of them.
exactly. I'm like, Jeremy, that was not okay.
I'm
All
like-
right.
Like,
Dan,
Wait, what was the whole thing you said about that?
He made a post talking about reparations. He's like, I'm for reparations. You get a plane ticket back to Africa or you shut the fuck up.
Wow. Yeah. It's a
Oh.
little-
Yes, I know. It's a bit
Little-
much.
But
Dan
Oh.
tweeted to the Southern Poverty Law Center that Lowe's sold bleach and string to Jussie Smollett.
I did. I also tweeted at them and said, Walmart sold bed sheets to the Klan and something else.
Right.
I was bored. Maybe
is that on in response to the California legislation that's allowing gun manufacturers and sellers to be sued for shootings?
No, it's in response to the Southern Poverty Law Center existing, because all that they do is judge people by association. It mostly, like, the thing that spurred it was hearing about them going after somebody recently, like the Mises Caucus or something. They were attacking...
Oh, it was the Andrew Yang, and then going after it because
right.
Clint Russell. It was at Freedom Fest.
Right.
It was like a whole list of all the bad people at Freedom Fest.
Because Freedom Fest had Clint, and Clint has spoken with this person, and that person is tied to
and Reed Coverdale brings
12 layers of affiliation of Nazism or something. It's like, you know what? Like, that's all that these people do, is that they're just going to keep digging until they find some distant thread that they can weave back to get somebody in trouble for association of association of association. So if it, like, they even brought up the web company that had something to do with Freedom Fest did work for some other company that was tied to white supremacy or something. It's like, oh, so they provided any service to anybody, association. Like, if that's the case, then they should be attacking Walmart. They should be attacking Walmart for selling bed sheets to the Klan, because that's literally the level of stupidity that they're going for here.
100%.
It's so embarrassing.
It's very sad.
Yes.
I love how Otto's just embarrassed for groups that he has no association with.
It just is. I feel so embarrassed, like, reading that article and then looking through it through that lens. Just like, wait a minute. Andrew Yang is now somehow a part of the Liberty Movement, which is a part of the Ku Klux Klan. Oh,
yeah, I think it's more embarrassing to have Andrew Yang there, dude. Like, what is he doing there?
Right.
Exactly.
Mr. UBI, Mr. like...
Man, Andrew Yang's less about liberty than the Klan was, isn't he? I'm pretty sure. Joking.
Oh, man.
And
then there's this somewhat tangentially related. I saw Dave Smith tweeted about, like, Cato's hosting the Fed chairman at some, like, event or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I saw this the other day. I gotta find.
Are they going to write some ad or some article that's like 3 reasons why libertarians actually like the Fed?
Right.
They always want to get invited. Maybe they'll finally get to those cocktail parties.
Oh God, it's so embarrassing.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I'm going to be at the LNC meeting next weekend. I'll be there in the den.
Flesh.
Yeah, in Alexandria, in the Beltway.
Nice.
So maybe I'll stop by Cato and I'll try to get a quote from them.
Nice. I am gonna have to bounce in just a minute here, guys.
No, it's cool. We're gonna end it here. So that's about a good way to end it, man. Dude, Dan, thanks for stopping by. Tell people where they can find you. Where any links stuff you want to put up.
You can find me on the internet.
Good. Oh yeah.
It's a series of tubes.
You can mail me at P.O. Box 84, Aledo, Illinois 61231. That's real. Also, you can find me at thesystemsdown.tv for all the links and everything. Twitter is the most active that I am, which is there. It's at TSIDpod, and that is the one that hasn't banned me yet. So that's where I do most of my shitting.
Nice.
Yep. And Dan, this is a little known fact that most people don't know, but Dan made his reputation through the video he made of me look like I was doing cocaine while talking to Joe Jorgensen.
My career was never the same after that, man. I mean, it just blew up.
I forgot about that.
It was like, we need to hire this guy because he's got skills.
Oh man,
we gotta find that one later.
I gotta find that
after hours for the after hours. We didn't talk about. There's a lot to talk about in the after hours.
A lot to talk about. But
I saw that movie. Nope. It's a nope. Yeah, it's
a nope for me.
We'll talk about that in the after hours.
It's gonna be a nope for me.
Spoiler alert. So.
All right. Spoiler alert, please. Thank you. Jeez.
Cool. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Dan, for coming on. Appreciate it. Well, I guess we're going to take this on over to our After Hours podcast. If you guys want to check that out, please go to our Patreon, sign up for as little as $3 a month, and you guys can get access to our whole backlog of episodes there. And you check out the podcast we're going to record right after this one. So if you guys don't like using Patreon, there's other ways to donate to the show. PRLfans.com is the website you want to check out, find out other ways to donate. Really help us out. Anything you can give would be great. Also, t-shirts like the beautiful one Jared is wearing right now. Please go over to libertariancountry.com. They got tons and tons and tons of awesome Liberty shit, books, they got a plethora of beautiful libertarian stuff. So please check out libertariancountry.com. And when you do, use the code PRL or PRL Podcast and get a 10% discount on all your orders. And if you spend more than $50, which I know you will, you can use the code PRL2 and get a 20% discount. So until next time, live free
or die.